What is going on, everyone? It is Monday, April 10th. It's finally beautiful outside. It is, I think, close to 60, maybe just over 60 degrees, which means turkey season is 1 week closer from last Monday when we talked about turkey decoys and the different types that are out there. Hope you all got to tune into that. If you didn't, you can catch it all again on our Facebook, or you can head over to our YouTube page and see that as well too. I have it labeled up there. I believe it's turkey decoys, setups, different types. We displayed all the ones that we offer here at Sabo River Outfitters. But this week we're going to talk about turkey calling. There's a lot of different calling techniques out there. There's different types of calls that you can use. And for me personally, I'm a diaphragm guy. I have been for a lot of years. I picked it up at a very early age. My dad got me a diaphragm call, and I figured it out. I shouldn't say I figured it out. I don't know if you ever figure it out, but I can make good sounds on it. I could replicate what a hen sounds like, and then as I got a little bit older, I figured out how to gobble on the diaphragm, which has been beneficial in some certain situations. So diaphragm is my go-to, but I also like slate calls. Now, there's different types of slate calls. There's glass. There's this type here that we have. There's different sizes. There's a different size here. And so I'm going to kind of go over those. And then obviously there are, let me see here. And there are box calls. And then obviously there's wing bone. There's let me see here. There's the gobblers that you can use and shake that will replicate a turkey gobble. There is electronic calls that you can use, but not here in Michigan because it's illegal to use electronic calls here in Michigan to lure in a wild turkey. But just wanted to kind of go over today some of the types of different sounds and techniques that I utilize in the field. And then, of course, if you have a question or a comment, feel free to leave it in the comment section, and it will pop up here on the right side of my screen, and I'll try and answer that to the best of my ability. But for me, early season this year, I'm going to take the first season, and right now I am still seeing a lot of birds still in their big flocks. Some of them have started to break up a little bit, but they're still in their big flocks where there's multiple toms with some jakes and then some hens. So going into the first season is going to start Saturday, April 21st. And if I'm still seeing the same thing that I am now, obviously I'm going to take in, like I talked about last week, more than one decoy. I'm probably going to take a full starter decoy. I'm going to take a lookout hen and a breeder hen. So 3 decoys, and they're hard body decoys, so it's a lot to carry in, but for me, that tactic has worked. And that full starter, I'm going to basically put that, presenting itself to that breeder hen that she lays down, she's laying down on the ground. And then that lookout hen, I'm just going to set up to the side like she's the boss lady of the group, like we talked about last week as well. Again, that's, for going into this first part of the season and flocks still being in their larger groups. So in the morning, let's just say I have this flock roosted. Doesn't matter if it's on private land or public land. If I know I have this flock roosted, I'm going to try and get in within that 150 yard. If I can get into 100 yards, that's great. But I'm getting in as tight as I can where I feel comfortable, where I give those birds enough room to be able to fly down. A lot of times when they fly down, they're immediately, looking for the hen. The tom is looking for the hens. A lot of times they don't roost together in the same tree. So I want to be able to give that tom or toms room to try and, kind of just breathe a little bit. Sometimes you just don't want to be right on top of them. I've been in situations before where I've walked in the dark, thought I knew exactly where they roosted, and sure enough, I'm well within 60 or 40 yards of them. And when they gobble, they're dang near right there on top of you. So that can be difficult because a lot of times when they pitch, they pitch the opposite way. And if you ever watch turkeys fly out of a tree, they just don't fly straight down. They actually fly and they pitch down. And when they pitch away from you, it can be difficult to call that bird back. But going in the morning, I've located these birds, and when the woods starts to awake, you start to hear those, songbirds start to chirp, and as it's breaking daylight, depending on the barometric pressure, I'm a big believer in what the barometric pressure is and how turkeys respond to that. 29.97 or it's 29.97 or 29.99 is about that point where turkeys really let loose, or I should say toms really let loose. Gobbling activity can be extraordinary once that barometric pressure hits that. So if it's at that point, 29.99, those turkeys are probably going to be letting loose well before it's shooting light. The conditions are right, so their hens are starting to make soft yelps, starting to just kind of wake up in the morning. But those toms are just hammering in the tree well before shooting light. Me personally, I'm not going to say anything yet because, for instance, if that tom decides to pitch down early and I don't have adequate shooting light, or B, it's not legal shooting time, I don't want to get that bird in that mindset to pitch down and come over to that hen. So I'm foremost waiting till it is legal shooting light before I really start trying to work that bird. So again, I got birds roosted. What I'm doing is I am taking a diaphragm call. This here is a batwing style. Again, we have the Bo Brooks style, batwing style. That's his signature series. I think we have one left in stock. We did that video a while ago, and these calls have done super well here at the store. So they're very raspy. You can cut on them really good. You can kiki run. Very versatile style of call is the batwing. So, but for me, all I'm doing is making some soft yelps in the morning once it's legal shooting light. I'm letting that tom know that there's a hen that has flown or potentially flown down, and that is on the ground already. So soft yelps, not super aggressive, just letting him know again that I am in the area and communicating with him. If that tom is cutting you off, or if he is just periodically gobbling back at you, I try to read that situation. What's up, Mr. Young? I try to read that situation. And again, if he cuts me off right away, that means he has heard me and he's interested. So I try to keep his attention. Once he gobbles, again, reading the situation, I probably won't call right back to him. I want him to, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word, but basically, I don't want to give it right back to him just yet. And plus, he's still in the tree. Once I know that he's flown down and on the ground, then I'm going to really work him up to bring him in. So going back to, he's still in the tree. I'm not calling super aggressively, and he's gobbling back at me. Waiting for it to continue to get more and more light, reading the situation to see, again, is he gobbling constantly on his own, or is he waiting for me to respond to him? And if he's waiting for me to respond to him, then of course I'm going to then move to a fly down cackle. And a lot of times you'll take your hat and you slap it over your knee like a turkey is actually flown down from the tree. And that a lot of times works pretty well because that's like sending a signal to the tom that, well, she just flew down on the tree. I better get out of the tree. Once I know he's hit the ground, and there's a very distinct sound once they hit that ground. It almost seems like they are super far away, compared to when they were in the tree gobbling. It always seems like when they're in that tree gobbling, they're right on top of you and you're super close, but it's crazy the difference in the sound once they've hit the ground. So the more and more time you spend in the woods, you'll get used to that. So try to spend as much time. I know we all work a ton, and a lot of times can only hunt the weekend. But even if before work you can get out and kind of listen to that and get tune your ear to that distance, it can help you out because that bird may fly down and he could only be 60 or 80 yards, depending on how thick it is. You want to be able to read that situation. So that bird's flown down, and I know for sure because I can tell by the distance or by the different tone of the gobble. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to yelp at him. I'm going to work and get him excited because it is, they're in the mindset of breeding. So again, the situation is it's that I'm calling to the tom, and I'll explain a different situation where there's hens involved. Calling to the tom, basically going to take the call here. Let's see. I'm just going to yelp and maybe add some putts in there and see how that bird responds. If that bird responds right away, I know he's interested. I'm not going to call back to him right away. I'm going to listen. I may scratch some of the leaves like the hen is feeding. That's another technique that you can usually get that bird to cross that line is if you scratch the leaves or the ground like like a turkey's feeding, scraping the earth's surface to try and find food or acorns or anything like that. It's a natural sound that a turkey makes. So if that, going back to listening, if that bird, I feel like that bird's closed in on the distance, I probably won't call again. I try to read the situation as much as possible, and that determines how aggressive I'm going to get. If I know that bird has got to that 60 yards, and I can't see him yet because of the timber type, and he hasn't gobbled, I'm going to then, make some yelps and cluck some purrs, and I may raise the volume up a little bit to try and get him to gobble so that way I can kind of pick his location. And then, again, reading the situation from there. If I can start to hear him strutting and drumming, then I know he's already in effective gun range. So I'm just basically, I've stopped calling at that point. I'm listening and looking with my eyes. I got my gun up and ready, and just waiting for that situation. Moving on to a situation where you have hens involved, that can be tricky because obviously that is more eyes looking and paying attention to what's going on. But it also can be a lot of fun. I enjoy targeting, calling to the hen because, man, they can get mouthy, and it can turn into a lot of fun, and it can really heat things up quickly. I keep getting some text here. Sorry about that. So, like I said, it can be a lot of fun because of the situation. It can get pretty excited with a hen being real vocal. And with that, when the hens are real vocal, for me, I am targeting the hen. I am calling to her. I'm trying to mimic what she is saying. A lot of times you'll hear those raspy old hens get super loud and aggressive, yelping, cutting, and just answering back to you because she's the boss of the woods in that area. She doesn't like that you're in her area. And what she's going to do... Oh, yeah, perfect. Zach says we call that exchanging recipes. That hen is going to bring that tom into your setup, and like I said, I've filmed and been in situations where those hens just get super mouthy, and it can be a lot of fun. And those toms come in all strutting and everything. Um, so, anyone have any questions on calling specifically? Again, I mentioned I'm a big diaphragm guy. This allows your hands to be free. You can always, have your hands on the gun, or for me, like I run camera a lot of times too. So I'll be sitting back, and that way I can, minimize the movement. When you bring in a call like a slate call, obviously you're introducing movement, and we all know turkeys have fantastic eyesight. Um, so you want to try to minimize that. But these slate calls are very realistic in how they sound. This year, I have a zinc slate call, and then also an HS strut little deuce. Very different in sound. I'll demonstrate the difference in sounds and the pitch that they make, and hopefully you can kind of hear it through my computer's speakers. So here's the HS little deuce. We got the purrs. If you ever seen hens as they're feeding, or just sometimes walking through the timber, you'll hear them purring. It's a pretty sweet sound. It's just a calming sound. A lot of times when it gets aggressive, you get the fighting purrs. You watch a lot of the jakes. Sometimes when they're looking to fight or trying to figure out who the ranks in the pecking order, it can get pretty loud and aggressive. You just So the little deuce is super high pitch. We have this call here at the store. What I like about this, it is small. Fits in the pocket of your pants. It's pretty good call. I've had this call for a lot of years. The other one that I have here is a lot bigger. I can reach. Some people think that a slate call is pretty quiet, but for me, man, you can really strike on these things. You can, and the pitch of the sound can really travel through an open field or the timber. Depending on where you're at, these slate calls can produce a very high note. So this is the zinc. You can kind of tell the difference here. A little bit deeper in sound. Um, you know, and what I'm doing here, if you've never ran a slate call, it's like a pencil. You got a slight tilt. I'm trying to figure out here. There we go. Slight tilt to the call. Some people make a J for their yelps. For me, it's just in the angle that I have the striker, and I'm just back and forth. A lot of times I'll add in, a couple clucks. Great call. It's a lot of. I like to strike up birds with this call. Like I said, I'm a diaphragm guy, but it's a lot of fun to reach out and strike up a bird with the slate call. But the cool thing is that you can be super quiet on these as well too. So if you do have a bird that's being super picky about the sound, you can be, like I said, you can be super quiet. You can actually sound like you've gone away. So if you have that bird that's hung up at that 70, 60 yard mark, and you want to sound like that you've gone away, like that hen's moved away a little bit to try and pull that tom past that 60, 70 mark to where he can be in effective gun range, then you can just slightly just very lightly touch the slate and just make your yelps. You can make your putts. You can just real lightly make your purrs. And then you can, too, I like to do while I'm, lightly calling, I'll add in, once in a while an aggressive putt, as I'm telling that Tom, get over here, come find me. We all know those Toms can be super picky at times, and that's part of the reason why they gobble. They're telling that hen to come over to them. It's just like when an elk bugles, he's communicating to the cow elk to come over to him. It's usually it's not like that for us men and women. Usually the guys have to go over and talk to the girls. We can't just yell and the girls come over to us. It doesn't work that way. So, but talk about a box call here. I carry one. I would say out of a turkey season, I may take it out of my vest. Probably less than 2% of the time. They make a great sound. This one here, I've had for a lot of years. My dad got it for me when I was a kid. As you can see, I haven't chalked it yet, but makes a really good sound. You can really accentuate those yelps when you get a windy day or a dense day where that air feels super heavy. You can cut through that air and really reach out if you're trying to locate birds. For me, I feel like I try to want to be a little bit different than because I hunt a lot of public land. So a lot of hunters use a box call, and that's okay because they can be easier to use. But if you want to try and gain that little bit of a different advantage, pick up a slate call or try and figure out a diaphragm call. But these things are great for cutting through air or really getting that sound out super far. Any questions? Any thoughts, concerns? I know I was late today. We had a rep come in, and so I kind of went over and wasn't on at 5 o'clock. But if anyone's got any questions or not concerns, well, if you have any concerns, let me know. But I'm super jacked for turkey season. I've been seeing a lot of birds. Today is a great spring day. It's beautiful outside. Tomorrow's going to be even more gorgeous. And we're just really looking forward to seeing how these birds react with this warmer weather, if they're going to start breaking up a little bit sooner than anticipated. That may make the second season a little bit tougher. It depends on how fast things green up and all those different kind of conditions that can really, really affect it. But, been super successful in late May when birds have, all the hens are pretty much done breeding. By the end of the year, toms they still have those hormones running through their systems. Late May can be really, really good, time to call in longbeards because there's just no hens interested. So if you can sound like that interested hen, it can be super effective. So Zach says, been gobbling like heck here in Osceola County. Getting jacked here too. Cold front coming in might make wackadoo. Get it. Yeah. That's super exciting that they've been gobbling in Osceola. That's great. I know we've seen quite a few birds driving to work here to Mayo. I'm excited. Next week, we're going to go over what I carry in my turkey vest and answer any last questions before we get into the week of week before turkey season. And just a reminder too, that week before turkey season, let me look at the dates here. So we're gonna go starting this weekend, the 15th through the 21st is Turkey Week here at Sable River Outfitters. So we will have specials on turkey gear, turkey decoys, any last minute stuff that you need. And then also we are going to be doing a video on why it is important to pattern your turkey gun, the different types of ammunition. There's TSS. There is shotgun shells. Yes, Uncle Toby just put on their shotgun shells. So I'm actually going to be doing a video with this gentleman that just commented on there about different turkey loads, why it's important to pattern, and then choke tubes too. Myself, I had a couple years here where I've struggled with a good setup. I got a beautiful shotgun. It's a Weatherby semi-automatic, and I've failed in getting it dialed. And so it's cost me a few birds. So I'm looking to get that all dialed, and we're going to do a video on the setup that once that's all complete, we're going to film it all and show everyone the complete setup. And then also, obviously, we're going to be doing Instagram and Facebook Lives while we're out in the turkey field this year, giving you updates and what we're seeing, how birds are reacting, if Jordan's missed or not, because I'm pretty good at missing. And then Alan's going to be doing infield updates as well. And then Jeff Marsh, our fly guy, he's a big turkey hunter too. He's going to be giving us updates as well too. So we're big turkey hunters here, maybe more so than whitetail hunting, but that's just me. No, I'm just joking. Alan's a big whitetail hunter, and Jeff is as well too. But yeah, looking forward to it. I appreciate everyone jumping on. We had a great, really appreciate everyone jumping on. It was good to kind of go over a few tactics. I know I didn't get into super depth. I only gave a few calls, but again, I apologize for being on here late. Next week, we're going over my turkey vest, what's in it, but then also touch on some other things too. So if you have any questions, feel free to send us a direct message. Send me an email. My email is jordan@sableriveroutfitters.com. That is Jorden with an E. So it's Jorden, just like how it is right there on the screen. So yeah, send me an email, direct message on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. If you have a question, put it on there. I know we're live on there as well too. So really appreciate everyone tuning in, and we will see you all next Monday for the last one. Have a great week, everyone. Hope you all had a great Easter too.